Hi, Julie Torrens here. Well, I had said that in the next video I would be working with these. Well, I changed my mind, so I hope you can forgive me for that. When we were together, we worked on these, and these are done, and they're a different kind of label, and I got the inspiration from 7 PLAZA from Margaret. So I had said, while you weren't looking, I would get these done. Well, I got all of them glued together. So this is a piece of cardstock scrap. This is a piece of paper scrap. And then I glued them on. On these, I made a mistake, according to the pattern that Margaret has. I should have gone like a half an inch more in cutting the center a little bit bigger. So on the ones that I just completed, I did do that because I still hadn't cut out. So you can see the difference, but I like them both. I like them both equally. So we're going to just decorate. And what I've got, again, cardstock, and I went ahead and I inked up the edge. This is 1/4 of an inch all the way around, so you get an 1/8 of an inch frame. And I just glued this to here. So that's where we're at in this process. So the video just before this is where I start this project from scratch. So why did I decide to go against what I had said? Well, because of comments. Not bad comments at all. Questions about collage. And then in a different video, there were questions about whatnot, where I've been getting some of my supplies. So I thought, well, I will decorate these and address that. Now, the other thing I did, I pulled out some more small embellishments. I've got things like this. And I purchased these literally years ago from, I think, AliExpress. So yes, I'm not going those places anymore, but I did, and I'm using up what I have. So as I decorate, I've got some, as I say, small embellishments. I'm picking up here a little butterfly that escaped. I'm generally putting some type of a piece of book page and then layering on collage elements. And honestly, collage is literally layers and layers in a cohesive kind of fashion. But the best thing about collage is just practice and see what you like. That is my best advice, is you're putting on layers of interest, and then you just will get a feel for what you like. You'll get an eye for what you like. I'm going to go ahead and ink this up. And I'm using ground espresso for this. And I'm just going to do the edge. One of the advantages of getting a little bit more ahead before I came back was I was able to wash the bulk of the ink off of my hands and the bulk of the glue off of my hands from inking and gluing all those pieces. I guess I should have opened this ahead of time, but there we go. And so hopefully I don't get quite so much stray ink here, there, and everywhere. Okay, so whatnot. To tell you why I'm using Whatnot, and I am not an affiliate, I have nothing to do with them other than it's a platform that I use. Whatnot is a live auction site where people like you and me, that looks pretty, people like you and me go out there, and these ladies, they will go ahead and I'm just inking over here. You've seen inking 1,000 times. They have art supplies. They have other things. I mean, you can get clothing. You can get designer bags. You can get literally I can't think of anything that maybe you can't get because people are on there for all kinds of selling reasons. So what I found when it came to art supplies, and that's just a little tag, and a little label, and I think I want another little label. Maybe some different colors, different shape. See, I like that. Good. So what I found was that there are people who go to things like estate sales or people that buy by container, what would you call it, like a flat? They buy these huge quantities and then they break them out into lots or individual pieces and they sell them on Whatnot. That's going to need a little trim. That's fine. All right, now focal points. How about a bird? What have I got? Birds, this is butterflies. That's faux postage. Birds must be over here. So for me, to go to an estate sale is pretty difficult. And the reason being, they're very, very crowded. And it would be easy for me to get bumped over because of my rheumatoid arthritis and osteoarthritis, more rheumatoid than anything though. I'm not always well balanced on my feet. And sure, you say, well, go get a walker. If I felt a walker was going to help me in the long run, I certainly would. But to buy or to get a walker to go to places like estate sales, now I'm so big that you can't get through their tiny little aisles and things. It's not for me. The other thing is, because I have an autoimmune disease, I am on immunosuppressants, which means I catch germs really easy. Coughs, colds, you know. Well, because of that, butterfly, maybe right there. If I put her there, then I feel like I need something else there, which isn't bad. Let's see what else I can do to fill that gap a little bit. Get one of these. So I avoid crowded places, and out here, the estate sales are extremely crowded. Okay, see, I like that. I need to get a pin. And this is a washi sticker, which I like because you can see what's behind it. It's been a while since I've used these because of all the reasons, you know. But it's silly for me to store them and not use them because 4 years ago I bought them at a place that we found out isn't always the best place to get your art supplies. But anyway, the other places like thrift stores, I go to thrift stores, and I've gone with other people, and they will tell you, now that blends in too much, they will tell you, do I like that? Not really. My thrift stores here in West Michigan, I'm in the Grand Rapids area, I'm going to put this on. They do not have art supplies. I don't know what they do with them. I can't believe they never get any. But as far as a paper pad or even something that might qualify for more of an office supply, well, no, not there. Okay, I like that. Let's work another one. Now, when I was in the Detroit area, now this one you can see, I didn't get this one measured quite right, but again, I still like it. So on the east side of Michigan, like I said, in the Detroit area, I found that the thrift stores had art supplies and music note paper books and old ledger sheets, not usually that someone had written in, but still ledger paper, just paper of any kind. I can't say I ever found a paper pad, but I found rubber stamps. I found, oh, what else? Never dies, punches. Plenty of punches I found that way. Now, did I buy everything that I saw? No. I mean, because it's all of different grade of goodness. But it was there. It is not here. It just isn't. So I watch, and I hope that you watch other things online. I want to just see in this faux postage. Now, here's a cottage. That's good. I was going to say something floral, something. I mean, I designed and made these. Yet, I guess I just didn't think about florals. There's a floral. Oh, let's use that too. Okay. I realize it's sideways. I can fix that. And I'm not going to ink these. I like them the way they are. There we go. I'm getting there. So Whatnot, I can go there from home. You know, I put it in as an app on my phone. I don't know if you can put it on your laptop or your tablet, but I bet you can. But I can't say that for sure. And as I say, women go, it's always been women. Well, no, that's not true. There's been men. They go and they get from things like the end of a estate sale, and they buy out everything that's left. And that's a little sparrow. No, I need something a little more punch. What's this bird? Well, I'd have to cut off so much. Owl. I like the idea of the owl with the cottage, so I'm going to use that. So they buy out the end of it, and then they turn it into lots, and then you can buy some. Now, some of the things that I've needed and I've looked for literally for years, dye for the die cutting machine. They're $7, $11, $14 to buy them new. And I'm not saying they're not worth it, but it's not really in my budget. And so I have bought a few at the craft outlet in the basics, and they had them for 50% off. So I was paying like $4, $5 for them for things like circles, squares, you know, the basics. But I've been able to get other things. I've been able to get embossing folders from there. Now, embossing folders, again, $11, $12. I go on Whatnot, I get them for $2 and $3, and I'm including shipping. So this is why I have been shopping on Whatnot. I have to be careful because even though it's Whatnot, I still have a budget. Okay, where did I put? There we go. I was going to say we've gotten more than one done. Okay, we'll do a few more. So do I recommend Whatnot? I recommend as a way for you to perhaps, okay, that already has book page. As a way for you, I'm just grabbing another scrap. This is from a catalog, but I just thought this paper was so pretty. The other side's kind of pretty too. If you're looking for used art supplies or art equipment, sewing, lots of sewing stuff. I did buy a thing of lace, a big gallon bag of lace. Love it. I don't think this needs inking. I think it stands out just fine. Do I ever find things like glue and stuff? No. I've not found acrylic paint, but I can't say that I have been at a Whatnot auction that's what they were selling. There are categories when you get to Whatnot and you install it, the app, and I've gone with estate sales where I've gotten some craft supplies. What I was looking for in estate sales was maybe more things like ledgers, things with old writing in them. I didn't find it there. I'm not sure it's really the right venue. All right, let's see about these bigger but small little stamps. Or I noticed that I had some. See, I like that there. I do know that they've had inks. I just haven't been there at the right time. I wouldn't mind, because I'd like to try some of the, like Tim Holtz, what are the one, not the Distress, but the oxides. I would like to try that. But, at $8 or $10 a piece, I would rather try it for less. So, but I know that when I've gotten into one of the live auctions, other people have asked, like, do you have inks? And the person who's holding the auction has said, we already went through that. So I get it. Okay, so she's too tall. Maybe a big butterfly. I've wanted to use some of the bigger ones, but it's always been a little too late. Okay, see, I think she looks gorgeous. Yes. Let's put her down. Oh, that sounds terrible. Let's glue her on. Now with Whatnot, one of the things I like is when an auction is up. So someone has said, okay, I'm going to put this up for auction starting at $1. On your screen, you will see what the shipping will be right then and there. So if you're like, yeah, $1 is great, but with shipping, you can see it right there. No surprises, and I really like that. Now, one of these, let's see, wait a minute. What else? Numbers. I've got numbers. Let's see about a number on here. We've already got a little number there. Those are big numbers. Let's do small numbers. What are you? Okay. Very white. We can take care of that. I'm just gonna take my little inker and give it a few pounces. And now it's darker. Now you have to watch when let's say you get to an auction on your little app, and in the upper left-hand corner, at least on my phone, I'm sure if you have an iPhone, it might be different. I have an Android. It will have something sometimes called show notes, which is similar to the descriptions that you have. Isn't that pretty? To the descriptions that you have here on YouTube. But it'll say things like, shipping is never over $10 or something like that. So you can get an idea. And then what happens is, like, let's say I bid on something and I win it, and that had $4 shipping. Then I bid on something else that had $3 of shipping. Now it's going to say to me that you only have $1 left, or you have your next thing is free for shipping because I satisfied that number. Now there's all kinds of caveats. If you leave the auction and come back, then you kind of lose that. So you got to pay attention. And did I make some mistakes? Yes, I did. But did it cost me a fortune? No. And I learned, and now I know to proceed a little differently. So again, there are things, and you can go ahead and look, because if you know of someone who uses Whatnot, maybe it's a YouTube person that has nothing to do with art, but just is someone that you follow, and then they're also on Whatnot. They often have a link, and you can grab that link, and then you get your first $15 for wherever you are on the site. You get that for free, just for learning how to use Whatnot. So, look for stuff like that. The different auction people have the choice of having what they call freebies, or I don't know what they call them, something like that. But they are little like drawings, and you can enter the drawing, and then Whatnot has a spin wheel thing, so it's all fair, and you see it all happening on live, and then you can win something for free, which is really sweet. And no, it's not a diamond ring, but it's just different things to keep you engaged, and that it's, a fun experience. Oh, look what I'm working on too. I didn't know that. Okay, let's get another one. I want to use some of these stamps. I mean, they can't all be where I can't use them, right? Okay, I like those cars. And now maybe I have, I know. Let's look at those other ones, because I know this is florals and things. So let's see. Is this the one we've opened 1,000 times? Let's try this one. What have I got going on in here? Okay, totally different. Oh, this has little faces that kind of look like stamps. I'm going to save it out, but I'm not going to use it on this one. How about this? Yes. Let's use that label. Let's glue this down. Collage people, are you getting a little something from Collage? And those that have asked about Whatnot, if you have more questions, ask me, and I will answer as to the best of my knowledge. I'm not an expert. I only can share what my own personal experience has been. And I'm sure you will hear a variety. Everything I've ordered has come. Everything that came, well, I saw it live. You know what I mean? I saw it, what I was bidding on. So there was no surprises. And some people that send you what you won the bid on, send it like Etsy, where they put all kinds of little goodies, and some just throw it in an envelope and there you have it. Either way is fine with me. Really, it is. Okay, I like this, but now obviously I want something in the middle. And I was thinking about another faux postage. I do have this container that has larger faux postage, but it might all be too large. Yeah, these are a little too big. Do I have something else that's kind of automobiles or some other kind of object? Men. Yeah, what about these guys? Let's cut 2 of them out. Now, I cut these out with a pair of scissors that I got from Happy Mail. I don't see them right now. So I'm going to cut it with this, which is kind of a wavy one. And I'm just going to trim up the whole thing. Okay, now this is 2. How does that look? Yeah, no, too big. Cut it in half. All right. Okay, see, I like him there. Let's put him there. Good. Got a little stray piece of paper there. All right, there he is. And now here's his friend. Let's put him there. There. Okay. I think that looks great. I really do. All right. One more. And then I think you're definitely getting the hang. Now, I like this. I'd like it really kind of for a focal point. Let's put something down here. And I think I'm going to go with book page this time instead. I've been using the, I've been using this one, which is like the index. So let's give it this one. Good. And I'm not going to ink it. No, I like it just like that. So would I go on Whatnot again? I would. However, right now, there's really nothing I need. So what have I got? I've gotten 6x6 paper pads, which I didn't have any. I used to get paper pads from Tuesday Morning at really good discounts. Well, obviously, Tuesday Morning is no longer. And the 12x12 paper pads that are at the craft outlet, which they don't have that many, I guess they just haven't suited me. I'm looking for my pen. Well, that's all right. I've got plenty. I'll find it. It's here somewhere. I've gotten dies for the die cut, and I've gotten those embossing folders. And I would say on average, the dies are costing me with postage about $1.50 each. And the dies are costing me about the same. Now I'm confusing myself. The dies and the embossing folders, I would say about $1.50 each is where I'm at with those. All right, something floral. How about in here? These are a little bit bigger, but this is big. So maybe, yep, I like that. The paper pads I got in such a large lot. I can't tell you. And also, they were not brand new. So they had some missing, but I would say only maybe 11 sheets, 10 sheets. The rest were all there. And they were pretty heavy. And I know one paper pad is single-sided, one paper pad is double-sided. You have time while you're on Whatnot to do a screenshot of whatever you're thinking about buying and checking it out, both resale and wholesale. But what am I saying? Retail or from people that are reselling. However, okay, I'm changing gears for a second. This is the first butterfly that his head is on plain white. And so I'm going to give him his little antenna. And I love that. Nice. So let's say you see a paper pad and they tell you that, because there's different types of sellers. This seller tells you that this is a retired paper pad, and I'm just making this up, from Tim Holtz. Well, you can right away run over to Ranger, take a screenshot, run over to Ranger, run over to scrapbook.com and see if it is, because just because something's retired, it doesn't mean it's still not for sale out in the general public, because shops and stores still have those things in stock. Just because Ranger's not selling them anymore, it doesn't mean that the people have sold off all their stock. I love that. So you can look it up and you can make a judgment for yourself. You know, is this really a worthwhile, or no, you know, I'm not really saving anything. You know, you can just judge it for yourself. I like the way this repeats the pattern. Don't you? All right. I am going to ink this. You will find that everything they tell you is retired may or may not be, but my experience was everything they said was retired was. When I was watching the bidding go up, they were bidding as much as if I can buy it new from a regular store. So, you know, I'm looking for deals if I'm looking for stuff like that. And I've just seen so many really nice videos out there that work with 6x6 pads, and my 12x12s, sometimes they work for that, sometimes they don't, and I just wanted to give it a try. So that's why I was happy to get those. Rubber stamps, I've gotten several. Like I showed you those, oh, I've got some right here. There's a brand of these called peg stamps. Other brands are also out there. Some of these still have their tags from the store, and they're about $4 each. I got mine for about 50 cents each. I did stop and figured it out. And I mean, and I've got buckets of them, and I just love them, especially for things like this. They work really well. All right, obviously I want something here. I've got this faux postage of like a queen. Yeah, let's put her on. I like her. And then maybe something over here. Let's see. I'm looking, not a bird. One of these again. Like this. No, because that one is not washi. I would, if I use one of these, I would like it to show through. No. Can you see? Okay. Let's do that one. I did throw my pin back last time so that I don't just have 100 pins here when I'm done. All right, let's see. So rubber stamps, I've gotten. Rubber stamps are all kinds, but I will tell you, a lot of Stampin' Up! Out there from, and I say that from multiple auctioneers, not just one. Why? I don't know, but there is a lot of those of Stampin' Up! And, you know, Stampin' Up! Has the dates. So you can see they're from, a lot of them are from the mid 1990s or the early 2000s. Oh, I like that. Okay, well, let's take a look at what we've got. I think I've shared with you as much as I can, but go ahead and send me your questions if you have more questions about whatnot. Yes, they do. You know, I did put my credit card in there. My credit card has, what do you call it, like protection. So I'm not afraid to use my card. And it is my credit card. It's not my bank card. I'm just laying some of these out so you can see what we've been doing. And then next time we get together, she says. But no, I mean it. I want to cut these out that I've got embossed to use on this type of of a label, and they're really almost like clusters, aren't they? If you found this helpful, please consider giving it a thumbs up because it helps my channel. And if you're not a subscriber, you are welcome to join this happy little group. We have a lot of fun. Down here, a video is going to pop up that's been picked out for you. I'll see you over there.